Hello friends, welcome back to Noobs in Disguise. I'm joined as always by Lambo. Today we have a Zerg versus Protoss, and the person we're paying the most attention to today is the Zerg, as that is going to be our Noob in Disguise. What's up Lambo? How are you doing?
Hello, doing fantastic. Excited to watch another hipster Zerg with a 15 hatch. Those are always very exciting games.
It's nice to see though how quickly it caught on now, and pretty much across all levels as well. I think this is one of the things that, despite hatch blocking really only being mainly useful at the higher levels, and probably only being done at the higher levels, still feels like the lower level Zergs just love doing the 15 hatch. If they can eliminate the potential threat, they like it.
Oh, he's scouting for a cannon rush as well. I was about to say, I would think this is worse against a cannon rush because you don't have an overlord above your natural actually. So this is one of the weaknesses. So you need to blindly scout with a drone if you actually want to be safe. But yeah, this guy knows his stuff. But I mean, if a Platinum player just copies Cyril without knowing why Cyril is doing what he's doing, then I'm not the biggest fan of it, and he might also die to a cannon rush, but this is already a much higher level than anticipated.
Well, I've seen the average Platinum game. If a Platinum player manages to copy Cyril for the first minute and 12 seconds, he's doing better than the majority of the other Platinum dudes, so I don't think it's going to be much of an issue. Isn't it also the case that with this your pool is much faster, so a cannon rush is not an issue anyway, or is it not quick enough?
I really doubt it's quick enough to... I mean, the issue is you just don't get a notification. So if you pull drones, then your pull is earlier and your hatch also is earlier, so it's easier to hold, but you don't have the information. Like, let's say there's just a hidden cannon going up in the towards the left side of the hatchery. You can get a free kill as Protoss with that.
Alright. We have a warp gate starting actually, so most likely not going to be a quick Stargate here, which is rare to see. I think majority of the games these days are just opening with a Stargate at basically every single level. We have a 2-ling going around the map as well, and it is all properly queued up. This seems like a high-level game so far.
It does seem like the Protoss actually was patrolling in front of the base, so I figured there should not be any links out. He's ignoring the 2 links, which is a very based move, to be honest, from the Protoss player. I actually think this is the correct call, but you still need to micro properly. Since he did go for core first, so if he actually was just chasing down those 2 links, it would be a pretty bad start for him. And now instead he can try to do some damage.
That is indeed a very based move. Oh, and he's also quick with the probes. He's now going to shade in towards the main base at the same time. Has the robo going down? Is this just going to be a DT drop behind this, which is a little bit less cool, as we see Flan opening up with a Mew Micah-esque build order here, with the layer starting with the next 100 gas after speed.
Yeah, I mean the 2 adapts did quite well. They killed 4 workers there, and he scouted the lair, which is huge. I really don't think you should go DT now, if you just saw your opponent has a unusual timing on his lair, which yeah, kind of counters the DT. But other than that, the early game I think should on paper suck for the Zerg, because this opener, it doesn't even go that well into taking gas early, which this guy did, but then he also didn't even pull out of gas.
Perhaps a controversial take here, but I think even if there is no fast layer, perhaps not going for a DT drop is still the optimal play, because DT drop as a build order is not so great. This is one of those build orders that I see being played again and again and again, and I can't recall the last time I saw it work. I think it probably was Astrea like a year ago at Home Story Cup when he actually won due to the DT drop. But after that, people, when they won, it was despite the DT drop, not because of it. The only person that has had some type of success, I think, was Gerald versus Ragnarok at DreamHack Summer with a DT drop.
What? That's such a random game. Okay, well, the Zerg is actually being the first person to drop into his opponent's main base with a Zergling drop, which is going to get spotted by a pylon. But the DTs are already being warped in on the other side, which means the Protoss has to deal with the units that he has right now at home.
Yeah, it did have 4 gates though, and only, I think 2 DTs got warped in here, so should still have something to deal with it. Zerg also not too quick with the response on those links in the opponent's base. Took out a pylon and now is dropping the links one by one, so 3 will still end up dying here. DTs on the other side also not being microed properly, so we have this... oh wait, is there overlord speed? Yeah, there is.
Yeah, I don't know why. I mean, this is significantly lower level now than I initially thought.
Oh.
Oh, is he gonna drop? Oh, he's dropping the queens as well. Yeah, this is a wild all-in. This should never ever work against 2 base DT drop, because Archons counter both queens and zerglings.
Yeah, it's the worst. It's the worst response ever. So I don't think this was the response. This is probably the pre-planned build that Flan had all along. See double forge coming out of Coriander, pre-third base. Prism is going to be halfway across the map. There is a recall available. There also is a massive supply block available right now. 45 workers to 33. As long as Coriander survives here, he's going to be in a super sick position.
Oh, good force field as well. Recalls the 2 Archons. In the main base, the links are just AFK. Not being used yet, man. It's so annoying that you can't transfuse with these queens. It just takes a little bit too long till they get the creep from the Overlord. And yeah, I think you need to transition here as a Zerg player. Oh, the Protoss not paying attention on the main base.
The Lynx coming in, taking out a lot of these workers. We see 10, 11 workers being taken out. And despite the completely failed all-in, with that 1 drop, I think Zerg makes up for almost everything here. Still, actually probably not in a great position because there's no Roach Warren and there are a couple of Archons out. So might want to keep the opponent busy for a little bit longer until that Roach Warren finishes. We're getting into a very weird game right now where both players are extremely low eco. And, well, Zerg has a 3rd base and a bunch of cash. So if Zerg manages to keep that 3rd base alive, I do believe Flan here is going to be in a good position.
Yeah, but I don't think he can keep the 3rd base alive. It's already super low. It's getting shot at by DTs, sentries, and Archon, a Stalker. And it goes down, which means I believe the Protoss can just turn back. But the Protoss obviously also doesn't know that there's not 44 workers here. So he tries to keep going, which surely is the incorrect call. Great force fields though. Perfect force field, zoning out the Zerglings, and now he has to recall, I think.
There's a prism, Can still
there's a prism, okay.
Yeah, he's got a micro like an absolute machine. Archon staying alive, look at that. Shields almost completely disappearing. Lots of links also disappearing here. Have we started 1-1 yet? No, I would love to see 1-1 here. So, boom.
Why is there 2 forges?
I don't know, it doesn't matter. This is what he got before. This is what he got before the all-in, and he never got the chance to use them. There's still a DT, by the way, in the natural of the Zerg player. There is an Overseer somewhere. It's coming back home right now. At the same time, the Archon drop went in towards the main base, but these Archons are really low, so they almost died against the Queen there. Don't hardly have any shields right now. It's 2 base versus 2 base. 34 workers for the Protoss against 28 of the Zerg. But more supply. Although that is in Roaches, so it doesn't really count.
Yeah, I do think the Protoss is in a good spot here. But you can't forget that the Zerg sent in the replay, which means he is going to win eventually. Even though it's looking dire so far. I mean, the Protoss can even heal up his Archons. I think it wouldn't be the worst move to go home at this point. Heal up the Archons and go again. Maybe take a 3rd base. The Zerg's just making units. I feel like the Zerg is hoping that the Protoss is either attacking into him or expanding a little bit too quickly.
Yeah, and now we see 8 more drones coming in, so I'm not entirely sure what the Zerg is thinking. Also some heavy gas mining going down here. We see 3 fully saturated gases on 30 workers. Is there a possibility that we're going to be heading into a Spire from here on out?
Oh, that would be crazy. I hope... I mean, I don't think so. I think he's just gonna mass Ravager. Yeah, I hope not. I don't think it's a good call against a 2-base all-in.
Yeah, probably not. Probably not the greatest call. I'd love to see some Roaches indeed morph into Ravagers. These Roaches without speed are going to get caught. 2 okay force fields here. We have more force fields, but are not going to be used on these Roaches. They do get the escape back to the natural. At the same time, Ling run by, attacking the natural of the Protoss player. Sometimes you can see if the super battery is healing, but this time it really isn't healing.
Yeah. Yeah, so mistake there by the Protoss. The Lynx get in, and it might be the saving grace. Never mind, there's an Archon and a Sentry already in the main base. Protoss pushing at the same time. Really doesn't need to push whatsoever, but he is going in, and the Zerg has Roach Ravager defensively, which is the best scenario for the Zerg. And once again, a couple Lynx in the main base, killing all the workers. Why are you attacking, Protoss? You're ahead in economy. There's absolutely no need to do so. You're ahead in tech, in economy, in army, you're ahead in everything. But upgrade once again, 8 Zerglings. Yeah, upgrade structures, bank. I mean...
Good old 8-Lings doing it again. What happened with the Archon and the center? Oh, they got F2'd across the map. Very nice. Yeah. You said there was something in the main and then it wasn't there anymore. It's like, well, either Lynx got a massive buff and I wasn't aware of that, or something funky happened here. And it indeed was the funky solution here. There's still a sentry with a couple of force fields are not going to be used. The Immortals are losing some DPS, being picked up and being dropped. Archon will end up going down. Perhaps, though, with Zealot reinforcements. +1 is here as well. So these units are quite powerful. Third base is going down for the Zerg. I think that will need to be cancelled if the Protoss is aware of that. Oh no, 2 more links in the main base. And spells disaster as the final probe in there will end up falling. It is 21 workers to 29. 2 base versus 2 base. I have no clue what... I would say that the Protoss is still winning here. I'd argue.
Yeah, if he micros properly, I mean, he finally dead with the Zerglings. He also needs to restart pro production. I think that has a higher priority than starting an Immortal and +2. But overall, I mean, yeah, if it's really hard to call, honestly.
Yeah, so far, I feel like every single time a single run-by got in, it dealt the maximum amount of damage. So as long as the Protoss can keep it simple, you know, just stick on 2 bases, full wall, maybe get a couple of cannons in every single base, you should be fine. I like this wall as well. It's a good setup, once again. At the same time, an attack in towards a 2-base Zerg. Not the most brilliant move. I wouldn't mind like a double Archon drop to or a double Immortal drop towards the main, but these constant pushes onto creep are definitely not it.
Yeah, he's warping in DTs once more for an extra Archon and also some sentries. I think he should just wait until the Zerg takes a 3rd base. Then he can have a reason to attack. Like once that Hatcher is done or something, he can do something, but there's absolutely no reason for him to attack. But it's a little bit hard in these games to know exactly the drone count of your opponent. Like the Zerg is mining with 9 workers on each mineral line. The Protoss doesn't know that. That is the case. So he might think, or might have thought that he was more all in than he necessarily was. But yeah, I still do prefer his position.
Yeah, me too. If we were to wait for +2, that would be nice as well. Ravager count is growing pretty rapidly though, and that is a scary unit. At the same time, we also see another link drop heading towards the main base, and that is also a very scary thing here for the Protoss. There's no cannon in the main, there are no zealots in the main. I hope the response time is going to be better, which means that there's going to be response time, because before we've seen nothing. Just anything, really. If he just pulls the works or warps in a zealot, that's already going to be... Oh, no. Literally the same time as the links go in, he starts fighting. There's no way he's going to pay attention to the main base here. As, well, he's also not doing too hot right now in the fight. Lots of Ravagers are hitting all of their biles. And this was also just before +2. We get a recall towards the main. They'll be back in time to see all the probes have died. He leaves the game.
Oh, no, man.
I'm gonna just check those last 10 seconds again in first person, because I have a feeling here that he recalled home, then saw the state of his main. Nah, okay, that's not what happened. He already saw the state of his main and then recalled home, because that would have been one hell of a surprise. You know, it's like, that was bad, but I still have probes at home. But then he didn't. But that wasn't quite the case. That would have made me even happier. But this was still good. A very confusing game, Lambo. I have absolutely no clue what happened here. It felt very high level in the first 2.5 minutes, and then it quickly, well, it quickly didn't feel very high level anymore. But still, there were some moves that made me believe that both these players knew how to play.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, aside from the Protoss against every single 8 Zergling squad losing his entire main base, and then also deciding to go for an attack into a Zerg that has less workers than him. Aside from that, I honestly think they did quite well. I think the Protoss also had decent micro. Good idea of what units to make. Like I like that he included sentries. Those are actually quite good in those early game skirmishes.
And the force fields were tight.
They were good. And he had really good force fields. Yeah. So yeah, hard to call. I want to go second on this one.
You want to
go second?
Okay.
I have an idea. Well, is this NA or is it EU?
I think it's NA actually. It's no, it's EU. It's EU. It's EU. EU. Submitter is Zerg. Server is EU. I'll say that this is 4.832. 4832. 4832.
4832. Okay. So I thought if this was NA, I mean maybe it could still be on Europe. I thought the Zerg might have been cats when I saw the replay. That was my first idea because I know he does like to do Link Queen drop, and he also had a very tight early game. You know, a very special build order, and the 4 letters also fit. And now the thing is, it doesn't actually help me that much because I have no idea.
No clue what his MMR is.
Yeah. So that doesn't really make it easier for me, especially on Europe. I would guess it's definitely a little bit higher. So I'm gonna go 5,069.
5,069. Very nice. I'll open the file, which tells me that the submitter was Lava with some weird clan name and was 5,129 MMR.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm getting better.
Well, this is EU. You've always been good at EU. This is no what you should be worried about. Well, last week NA also was good. I have to admit it. All right. Well, big win here for Lambo. Once again, congratulations. And be sure to keep sending in your replays. We get a bunch of them. And, every single week we pick a new one. Next week might be yours. So keep sending those to harambose2@gmail.com. I will double check that, but it's definitely correct in the description down below. And I'll see you all next time. Ciao, ciao.